Monday. Welcome to Monday Night Live. Oh man, we are starting out hot in the comments, but thank y'all for joining us. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel. Of course, head to Inside Texas. Use the promo code IT1. Get yourself 2 months for $1. We appreciate you joining us. Some various life events have this lineup here, and we've got a special guest. We've got Nino of Nino's Corner here in the mix on Monday Night Live. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, man. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
We've been a long time fan of what you do on your channel, and some of I think Homer and you and a few others can give some of like the most measured analysis while still bringing that fan passion, and it's really great to have you on here as we got a lot of people excited to have you here. But Ian, you're the regular of this bunch, and I think you see the comment. I'm going to throw it to you. Gabe Eichard, who I think we understand he's a very close follower of Oklahoma football. I'm about to try to pull up the tweet.
Pull it up.
We're already talking about the Red River Shootout. It is a lot of fun to have almost 2 weeks of build up for that. And let's see.
We got 2 weeks of this.
Yeah.
I'm excited, man.
That's going to be a little different, right?
It's going to be a lot different. All right, I'm about to pull this up, but Gabe Eichard posted some early thoughts on the Texas defense. Keep things very simple. They trust their guys to win their battles. 45, Vernon Broughton's playing well. Through 5 games, they blitzed the least of any defense that he's ever studied. Attacked 0, which is Anthony Hill. He's good, but the worst player in their front 7, and a number 11, Colin Simmons, is going to be a dude. So, Ian, you've got some experience talking with Sooners. I'm struggling to poke holes in this. Like Colin,
I think every single one of those points is right.
Yeah, I don't really have a huge problem with it.
I think people get confused because Anthony Hill, he's better than last year, and he's a lot better. But he makes wow plays on a down to down level that somebody that Gabe Eichard was a center for Oklahoma for Big 12 championship teams. The things he's going to notice on a down to down basis, Anthony Hill is still not going to quite measure as well there. And I guarantee you a lot of that is probably because the Mississippi State game, where Texas asked a lot of Anthony Hill in the Mississippi State game, and he had a lot of moments where he was kind of hesitant. So I don't know what that Wayne Watson comment means exactly. I think these are all more or less the truth.
Well, it's like some people are angry. He said 45 is playing well. That's positive.
Yeah,
says we don't blitz a lot. That's not negative or positive. That's just an observation of a tendency.
Yeah,
they're mad at Anthony Hill, and then he said 11 is going to be a dude. So like 3/4 of that is very positive. So to act like it was just like he's just hating is kind of weird.
I'm curious when you saying Anthony Hill is the worst player, maybe the framing that caught some ire. But I mean, when you have a front 7 that's Hill, Benda, Trey Moore, Broughton, Collins, and Sorrell, and then I guess you throw Gilbo in there, like Nino, there's a lot of good football players on that list.
Yeah, man. Honestly, it is. But honestly, just go look back and just see what PK said about Hill, right? And so, so he said that he is a great athlete, but not a great linebacker yet, right? And so I think, this is kind of hits at that point.
He's also, I think, the worst player. If he had just said attack 0, he's good, but is the shakiest on assignments or something like that. If you just say, but I mean, you don't want to tweet all that. Gets to be a long tweet. But if you just said it a little more like that, I think it probably would have just gone over. It would have gone over at least a little better.
Yeah, he said least assignment sound, NFL measurables, least assignment sound. But people just hear worse, like Anthony Hill's a bad athlete, and no one's saying that he's a bad athlete.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, and I think he followed it up in the comments. He's good, but he doesn't display great recognition in the run game. Doesn't have the punch 33 has taking on blocks, gets lost in coverage the most of anyone on defense. Awesome in space when he can run and make plays, but a lot more to linebacker playing than that. And like we mentioned, like that's what Pete Kwiatkowski said.
Yep.
Right.
So
It's fair.
The one thing I'm curious about, and you said he played center, right, Ian?
Eichard, yeah.
He's obviously going to watch defensive tackles. I'm a little curious as to why he noticed 45, noticed Broughton maybe instead of Collins, and if that even says anything.
I think that Collins is a little more boomer bust still in his play. If you watch him, Collins is like always trying to work to the ball and get off blocks. Whereas Broughton has become really, really good at just like getting low and owning the middle of the field. So I think Broughton is a lot more consistent. He's more consistently with his pad level. Collins will have a play where he's in the backfield, but then he might have another play where he's getting out of his lane and giving up something. So
one thing,
Thomas
he's noticing, Broughton's the highest rated DT in the SEC. Collins is 5th. Says a lot. And when you make wow plays like that, it's going to go a long way. But one of the things that he noticed was Colin Simmons. And Colin Simmons and Trey Moore and Barron Sorrell are going to go against Oklahoma's offensive tackles.
Yeah.
And I think that may be why you noticed that 11's having a pretty strong season so far.
Exactly, man. So, man, Simmons already has like 4 sacks, right? So he's doing this thing. He's always in the backfield. So these first 4 games, we've seen him, just actually drop back in coverage too as well, which is something that you don't want to see him do too much. But look, man, I look at Nance and he's going to just really unleash this kid on these tackles, man. He's going to be awesome, man. So he has a great opportunity this year to potentially break that freshman sack record, man. So let's see what he does here. I would look for him to have a couple really good plays here in this game. Hopefully 2 sacks in this game, man. And, but he's awesome, man. Awesome.
Arch Torrens with a comment. 2 names I haven't heard: Tassilia Kana and Aaron Bryant. Aaron Bryant dealt with an injury, I think, but Homer, there's a lot of quality linebackers in that room who played linebacker and aren't converts like Kana.
Yeah, it's that's gonna be interesting. So I want to see Akana. I haven't heard much about him. I don't know how he's doing developing wise. He's gonna be interesting. Gillette, same thing, right? If they kind of turn into edgy type guys. But I wanted, before we talk this, I wanted to talk Colin Simmons post game when they asked him.
Yeah.
And I was like, thank you, Colin. That's what we need, that, man. Like, sell the fight. And Colin Simmons was like, I think we're gonna dominate him. And I absolutely thought that was wonderful. And then of course it gets picked up in the Twitter sphere, and John Bianco is sad, but it was absolutely awesome. And he's got the ability, like we said, he's going to be an incredible pass rusher for us, and OU's offensive line is not good. So he has the opportunity to make do kind of right there. But how'd you guys feel? Did you cringe when you heard the dominate part, or were you like, this is what we want to see?
I love it. I love it, man. Look, man, I was on campus, from 01 to 05, right? And so I was like the RA for all the football players. And so that's how I know like a bunch of these guys, the George Walkers, the Tim Crowders, the, Tony Hills, those are my guys, right? But that was the attitude that they had every day. Every day it was one game at a time. We're going to dominate you like crazy. And at that time I could go to like the football practices and stuff, right? So I would be with the coaching staff and stuff, and you would see how these guys just approach the game. Like they approach the game completely different, right? And so to have somebody who's a true freshman, come up and say that I'm going to dominate, that totally reminds me of Tim Crowder when he came in as a freshman, as a high 5-star, right? That totally, like Larry Dibbles, he was that kind of guy too at Texas, where like you weren't going to beat Larry Dibbles, Rod Wright, the same kind of person, right? So I love it, man. Great attitude from a true freshman.
Real quick.
It's not like OU is not going to have motivation.
Yeah.
No?
It would be funny if that was it. They were like, it was Colin Simmons' comment.
They'll say it if they win. They'll be like, bring me Colin Simmons,
Yeah, they always do.
They'll use it, but if it wasn't that, it was going to be something else.
So the only issue with the comment from Eichard is Tannehill is not the worst player on the front seven. Not sure we all didn't address that nonsense. I agree with the other criticism. I think when he clarifies that he's the least assignment sound of the front seven, I can be okay with that. That's where I'm uncomfortable with it. Not NFL measurables, but I mean, he's the youngest of the front seven too, by a lot. So it's like, it's not surprising that a true sophomore is less assignment sound than David Binda, who's working on his 401k, and you have the interior guys that have been there forever. So I don't think it's that weird of a concept. Yeah. But I understand when you just hear he's the worst player, you're automatically like, the NFL doesn't like worst players, and he's going to the league. So I get what you're saying, but when they're just saying it's a offensive lineman, breaking that down, they're looking at that in a very all about assignment soundness and who's right and who's wrong.
Want to move on to this one from Ian. For Ian, we're going to have so much time on not trashing, analyzing Oklahoma, but
I got one here.
Go for it.
There's the comment somebody made about how Colin Simmons can't get too far upfield, or Hawkins will run by. That is true, but I think Simmons can actually run him down from behind. He's had some plays where he made the tackle where he like flew upfield, saw the ball go by, and then chased it down from behind. He's got like that crazy puppy dog energy whenever he's on the field, where he's just like everywhere.
Yeah, and this one from Wayne Watson: missed run gap assignments are probably going to be a topic of discussion this week. Ian was referring to your rock star status among OU fans, and especially if we'll see if they march out a similar game plan where they play with a light box. But if they do that again, Nino, then they definitely have to be more assignment sound against a better running team.
Yeah, man. Exactly, man. So, look, this game is going to be very crazy for us, man. I've been looking at just the stats here too, man, and just looking at, like just the OU defense, Texas offense too as well, man. And, OU, they give up a lot of big plays, man, especially in that secondary. All right. And so, I've been counting here 26 plays that they've allowed at 15 yards or more, and Texas's, offense, right? Over 53% of our yards from passing are from plays that are 20 yards or more. So, look, I didn't even count the 15-yard passes, right? So that team's going to give up big plays. The plays are going to be there to be, just honestly, to have Texas, have. I think Texas is going to do some great things, like on this OU defense, man. Should be very interesting.
Before we get to one more, couple more comments asking about this, got to give some love to our sponsor. And with that, we will go to our guy, LC.
This video is brought to you by Luxe Kitchen and Bath. Luxe has been offering high-end kitchen and bathroom remodels for 3 generations throughout the greater Austin area. With 5-star review after 5-star review on Google and Facebook, and an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, you can put your faith in Luxe Kitchen and Bath's award-winning designers and skilled craftspeople to bring to life that dream vision of your special home. But that's not all. Luxe's all-star team provides full remodels, large additions, and even commercial build-outs as well. So call Luxe Kitchen and Bath at 833-358-LUXE today. Or visit luxekitchenbath.com to discover where quality meets luxury and begin the process of transforming your home. Get a free quote today by calling 833-358-LUXE. That's LUXE. Or by visiting luxekitchenbath.com. Link in the description.
Tons of LC.
Very
Ian, hope you're ready for this one. What did you see on defense against Mississippi State regarding how they might play Oklahoma?
Well, they just kind of let Mississippi State spread them out and dared them to run on a light box.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually in the stadium in the seats, and they did okay. They got, they're getting like 3 or 4 yards at a time. They went for it on a couple 4th downs. They made it work for them in terms of moving the chains, but they didn't score any points. Like early in the game, I could tell like everybody was freaking out. Like, why can't we stop these runs? They're just doing this over and over again. And it's like, look at the scoreboard, guys. Like, they're not getting any points out of this. They're controlling the clock some, but if Texas hadn't fumbled and they hadn't dropped that post with Jonte Cook, they're up huge in the first half, and Mississippi State is going to have to start throwing more. And when they did have to throw more in the second half, 5 of the 6 sacks Texas had were in the second half. So they could do the same thing against Oklahoma. I actually think Mississippi State has a better run game than Oklahoma's. I think they definitely have to this point. Oklahoma's going to come out with their hair on fire in this game. So you maybe assume they'll be 150% of what they normally are across the board, at least early. But I think they could just run that back and just say, we're going to dare you to win that way. We're not going to come in trying to throw knockouts. We're going to drag you into deep waters and see if you can swim with us. I don't know if that's actually how I would play it, but I think they could do that again, and I think it could probably work. But I would rather play to really squeeze their strengths and see if you can get them panicking, because the atmosphere of that game is very different, where the momentum swings are so intense, and the big play that you count on not happening happens, and then another big play happens, and so I would rather be ready to come in throwing haymakers instead.
They used it up. They used up the Sooner Magic in Auburn.
What is that? Where did that come from? I've never heard of that before.
That came from Seth Oliveira from OU. So he's a friend of mine. So his thing is, guys from Oklahoma are imbued in Sooner Magic or something like that, right, Homer?
Imbued with Sooner Magic.
Yeah, with Sooner Magic. So that's been kind of a thing for the last 3 or 4 years.
It basically means that they play badly and then they get some type of fluky play at the end and they win and they call it Sooner Magic.
Yeah.
Is that this season?
No, they've done it for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Think about Texas year 1 was Sark. That was Sooner Magic. To come when Riley came back. So it's kind of this squeeze it out the last second. What was the last year that they wanted to, Kansas, when they barely beat Kansas, when they barely beat
Texas last year.
They lost,
right?
Texas
or whatever. It was 2 years ago. It was 2 years ago. They have they eke these things out at the last play and they'll call it Sooner Magic.
I think that's just Caleb Williams.
No,
exactly.
That's what it is. They just eke it out at the last second, and it's not. You shouldn't be proud of it. It's basically we should have lost, but we didn't. Sooner Magic.
I want to toss one more scheme thing Ian's way, and then I have an overarching culture of the game thing we can get to. Thoughts on Texas' ability to exploit the OU pass defense? They've given up 8 20-yard passes in the first 2 SEC games, and that's even with Peyton Thorne on one side and Nico, who I usually get it, but I couldn't right now. Nico, who they didn't really ask to pass a ton over the course of the second half. So what are your thoughts on the wideouts versus the Sooner secondary?
So last year, going into the game, I was noting hey, Oklahoma's 4-3 defense is going to get shredded by Texas. They cannot cover Texas with this defense. And then they saved Kendall Dolby starting nickel for the Texas game. Like a wrinkle. Just having a nickel package that made sense. They saved it as a wrinkle for Texas, and it was huge in that game. And then they had Gentry Williams was their top young cornerback. Both of those guys are injured. Neither of those guys are playing in this game. So
Dolby's out. Yeah.
I don't even know what they're going to do, honestly. They're going to have to spend the next 2 weeks figuring out how to shuffle their secondary around in a way that works. Because if they try to
linebacker, they're playing that linebacker there now.
They cannot do that the way they've been doing that. They cannot do that against Texas.
He's hurt.
He's hurt.
I think so. I think he left the game. I need to double check that, but I'm pretty sure he left that Auburn game.
It doesn't matter. Ozamigo, none of those dudes. They're going to be running with DeAndre Moore or Silas Bolden. It's a total non-starter. Yeah. So they're going to have to figure something out. I don't even know what they're going to do. If Texas doesn't exploit them in the passing game, that's going to be the first thing we talk about for how did this disaster occur after the game.
Because it's the hugest mismatch. It's not even close. They do not have a good secondary right now. Like we said, 87th in the country in yards per pass on defense. They can be had. And you saw Auburn hitting shots on them.
Shot after shot.
Yeah. And so it's like that's there for the taking, which I thought was interesting because they have good name recognition, in the secondary, but oof. And then what is it? Kanai Walker, however you pronounce his name, you can score on him.
Easy.
He's a slow man. So yeah, there's a huge opportunities in the passing game.
Homer, I bring this up because this is the cultural thing I wanted to get to. Steve Sarkisian, he is he has one win over Oklahoma. This is his fourth year as head coach of the Longhorns. He has, you got to acknowledge he has 0 wins over Oklahoma when they've had a functioning human at quarterback. Like, this is a thing where it is important to win football games and it's important to beat your rivals. And I wonder if you think there's increased urgency in the building to not fall to freaking 1-3 during his time as head coach of Texas against Oklahoma.
Yeah, there's always that pressure. And if there's not, we talk about it on shows and create it for them to let them know. So yeah, of course there's that pressure. You don't want to be 1-3. Especially it's not Riley either, right? Riley had it really going down there in Oklahoma. They're in year 3 of Venables, and we don't know how many losses they're going to have this year. So it's not even like it's a super dominant OU too that Sark would have a bad record against. So yeah, of course, this game's more all games are created equal, and it's 1 week at a time, blah, blah, blah. Except for this game, you can see whenever they start wanting to cry after they win the Red River, how much it means to them. So yeah, of course, that's going to matter. It's going to have an outsized portion of people's mindset.
Yeah, man. I think Sark, he definitely has this kind of circle on his calendar, man. We got a bye week on this too, man. So he's going to come out with the haymakers. His opening script is flawless. It always is. And, honestly, Sark always adjusts, pretty well this year too as well, man. So I don't see them taking the L this week. Look, I don't see Quinn taking this L either. This is his last game against him too as well. So look, I think it's going to be a masterclass. That line, 14.5 points. I think Texas should actually cover that, man. I'm excited about this game.
And I like this point. Good coaches have internal pressure to win rivalry games. And that's 100% true. Like, this is what fans circle their calendar for. They want to beat their rivals. That's what made college football. So I think that's true. And he walks by it literally every day. I think in the UT facility, there's a place for the Golden Hat, and it has not been there very often when Sark has been head coach. So I think that he gets it. And I'm not telling the audience anything Steve Sarkisian doesn't already know. It's just one of those things where 2-2 looks a lot different than 1-3. And I think he understands that. Sugar Daddy says, really hoping Sark has a lot of wrinkles for the Red River shootout. Ian, we can kind of parlay this into something you and I noticed today about the Longhorns touchdown passes and how they seem to have a pretty good response for a lot of different things, including defenses they may be surprised about.
Yeah. Do you have those queued up, or?
I have one because we only made a
diagram of one.
Yeah. Here we go. So this is the one from the touchdown to DeAndre Moore.
Yeah. So Arch throws bombs. We all know that. As the prophet has spoken. And they caught Mississippi State brought like a 6-man 0 blitz on this one.
Yeah.
They had motioned. I actually don't know who the running back was. It might have been Wisner. It might have been Blue. They motioned him out wide, and then they had Gunnar Helm up top. And then they had all their good 3 fast receivers inside where they could maybe dodge the cornerbacks. And then they just had the inside receiver H run a post and then slot fades to either corner. And Arch picked DeAndre Moore real early, saw what he liked, and just let it fly. Mike linebacker, that Blanton kid at Mississippi State, had a free run.
Yeah,
because they sent one more guy than Texas could block. And Texas picked it up really well, but he got a free run, and he knocked Arch over right after the throw. But perfect bomb in the breadbasket to DeAndre Moore, touchdown. And then he was like pimp walking in the end zone. Pretty great stuff.
And I think that was the play. He had that hip pointer. Remember last week? And he
Was
looked
that
like he
what he
was, I think he was limping a little bit, and then he got into the pimp
Yeah.
walk. So that
I
was
hate when they do that.
That scared me.
When we've been injured, I'm like, don't do that fake hamstring, fake whatever. So I hate.
I think I actually home run that. That kind of scared me, man. Like in the group chat, I was like, don't do that. Please don't do that. Don't scare me, man.
Yeah.
But this is something that I think Texas could apply against Oklahoma, because you're searching for, the right matchups. And I'm not going to discount how good Peyton Bowen and Billy Bowman are, but if you can line up against some of the other guys in that secondary and get Golden, Bond, Moore lined up, Wingo lined up one-on-one against those guys like they were against Mississippi State on this play, that could bode well for Texas. And I also think Brent Venables understands that as well. Ian, I can't pull up this the other touchdown, but everybody's kind of familiar with with mesh and the wheel route on NCAA, right? So I drew it, but I don't have my good diagram. Just think you're in shotgun, 3 to your right, 1 to your left, tight end. The wheel route's number 1. The crossing route to your left or to your right is number 2. And then there's a guy in the middle of the field that's typically number 3. And what Sark did against Mississippi State,
he runs a curl. And he runs a curl. He normally runs a curl on the mesh. So he's just sitting there in open space. Yeah, good.
Yeah, you guys are talking about mesh spot, right?
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, let me pull it up.
Sweet. So this will be this is something where when commentators talk about Sarkisian and how he plays one play call off of another, this is a perfect example of that, and it also breaks rules and tendencies that opposing offense or opposing defenses look for.
Spot here. So you have the wheel, you have the mesh, but I'm looking for the spot. Well, I want them to sit down over the ball.
Yeah, we need the spot. It's essential to explain.
Right here.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah.
So Ian, you want to take it away?
Sure. So what Sark did was he ran the play just like this, and the Z receiver was DeAndre Moore, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So DeAndre Moore ran in the middle with everybody else in the normal pattern, like he was going to run the middle curl. And then I actually didn't see if he sold the curl or if he didn't, but he ended up he just kept on going and slipped by everybody into the corner of the end zone. And Arch looked off the safety and then went to it because he knew it was going to be there. And then Arch throws bombs.
I wonder if is it spot in zone? So he's going to sit in zone. He's going to continue on in man, or do you think it was just that was straight up the call?
No, it's a double. It's a double move all the way. They ran it last year too, at least once that I saw.
So they're running mesh spot a couple times prior to get the safeties and everybody used to it, and then later on they're going to put the second layer of that and score on it. Maybe.
I mean, it's already on film. Like everybody runs mesh, so when people see those it's kind of like Lincoln Riley had that one where one of the shallows, after he would cross at the mesh, he would suddenly just leak open down the field, kind of like this. And Oklahoma beat Texas with that in 2020, and they used to just tear people up with that. It would be so hard to pick up.
They'd run it over and over and over. And the cool thing about this play was it took some gumption by Arch to throw it, because if you at the very end, you see there are 2 Mississippi State guys. Like he's going to have to, he had to trust DeAndre Moore and made the throw and made it successfully. And one other thing that, the first touchdown didn't show this because it was a 0 blitz, but Nino, there is a lot of time for, like Sark said today, to cook steak with this offensive line.
Exactly, man. So I think in the previous game, the pass blocking was truly outstanding in the game. There were times where Arch was literally just, he was waiting, for 3 or 4 or 5, like seconds sometimes, man, where it was just like he was just going through his reads, first, second, third. All right, fourth read's great too. Let's go to the fourth. I mean, he was really very, very comfortable back there, man. Man, look, Flood is that guy, right? So Flood loves his big humans, right? He has the guys that he wants here, so just starting with Kelvin Banks is, like there from the side, having Hayden Connor, who is probably just the best blocking, guard on the team too as well. Jake Majors, man, he is just transformed this game, man, just over these last 5 years. Just having him come in from his freshman year where people were saying like he might be like the weakest link on the team. And now seeing him do his thing now where he's up on draft boards now to like 3rd or 4th round. Right. And so, just seeing what Kyle Flood has been able to do with all the talent here has been great, man. So yeah, Sark saying that guys can cook steaks back there, that's an absolute like A+ answer, man.
That's also a horrible pass rushing team that we faced. Like they're truly awful. Like they're 122nd in the nation in sacks per game. And then like PFF, none of them were even top half of the SEC at any position. So
that's true.
We also just faced the worst of the worst pass rushing team that we'll face. So it'll be interesting to see going forward what happens, because OU's got some pass rushers.
Yeah, but you can also look back on the Michigan game and see what they did to
that's my proxy for like our Mason Thomas and Trace Ford coming up is like, look what we were able to do versus Michigan. So it's not just like fool's gold, our pass blocking. We showed we could do it.
Just gotta shore up the penalties. So before we keep on going, got a lot more comments to get to. Got to give another shout out to our sponsor and to LC again. We go.
I'm just going to say, guys, you probably need a fiduciary financial advisor. And I've got the guy for you. His name is David McClellan with Forum Financial. He works broadly and deeply with his clients as a financial life coach. And he should know something about coaching because he won several national championships as a swimmer for the University of Texas. He specializes in financial planning and has contributed numerous articles to Kipling on the topic of retirement tax bombs. So contact David today to be your fiduciary financial planner and schedule a 1-hour consultation to assess your financial situations. The free consultation is available, so just give him a call. The number is 312-933-8823. That's 312-933-8823. His email is also in the description below.
I've watched, I got to go to a swim meet with him, and it is funny to see how into swimming Longhorn lettermen get at their event. Yeah. So a lot of fun.
I want swimming hooligans where there's just gangs of swimming hooligans that fight over who won the meet.
It's an interesting one. I like this one from Wayne Watson. It's time to touch on it, and I think even Sark touched on it today as well. Jaden Blue may have lost his starting job to Trey Wisner. Fumbleitis, is it more mental or just unlucky hits? Blue is a big need for us. We've gone over this some, but Homer, just curious what your takeaway is on the.
Oh, yeah, thank you, Joe. Thank you for giving that to me. I don't know about him losing a starting job. We talked about it this morning. It seems like there is a mental element, and just he's been kind of a step slower this whole season. I don't know if it's injury or just kind of disengaged. Kind of pulling up on routes last game where he could have caught it. That kind of stuff. There's a little bit of effort there that's weird because we know he's plenty fast enough. We know he's athletic enough. We know he can catch. So why is he dropping balls and all that kind of stuff? So I don't think it's purely unlucky hits. There is a element that'll be unlucky sometimes, but what was the stat whoever commented? I mean, he's fumbling like once every 31 carries or something at this rate. So that's not just bad luck. He needs to secure the ball more. But I agree he's a big need for us. I'm pro Blue. I mean, the kid is fast. He does special stuff. I hope he gets right because, frankly, we need him.
Yo, listen up. Here's a story about a little guy who lives in the blue world.
Thank you, man.
I don't know if the being slightly injured has impacted him mentally, but they're not gonna. You can't fumble in the Red River Shootout. That's exactly the kind of play that happens in that game and just turns the tide, right?
Yep.
So I don't know what they're going to do exactly.
Well, go ahead.
You're going to beat Oklahoma by throwing. So I would consider leaning on Wisner or at least having a quick hook if Blue shows any of the tentativeness that has kind of plagued him of late.
I mean, necessity is going to, just by looking at that injury report, and granted they got some time to get healthy, but necessity dictates that Jaden Blue play in the same way, that it dictated he needed to be benched on Saturday.
Yeah, man. Look, he has 4 drops this year too, and that's pretty huge too. So him having 4 drops this year, also 2 fumbles this year. I don't know, if it is mental, but it's something that does have to get fixed here, right? But if things do happen to where he fumbles again here in the first or second drive again, then yeah, you got to snatch him out of the game, because if that happened, in 2 weeks, what happened on Saturday, that's the opportunity for Texas to lose that game, to have a guy, actually fumbling the ball twice, right? So, those things just have to get cleaned up, man. And so if Wisner is a better option during the game at that time, then I would play Wisner, but Blue is that guy who is that home run threat. All right. So he has that top end speed, and he has to be, our top back here, I think, for this game.
There's a comment here. Wonder if Page and Velton Gardner are going to be good to go by then. If they are in the game, something disastrous happened in the week leading up, or something disastrous happened to the OU defense. That's the only way that happens. They need everybody to get healthy, and those guys are included, obviously.
Yeah.
But they need Wisner, Blue to be healthy, Gibson to be healthy.
Yeah.
How much progress do you think Gibson can make this week, Homer, in becoming a little bit more of a complete back? Because he wasn't used that much against Mississippi State.
I think he's situational right now as a young guy. Just give him kind of clear reads, let him run downhill, let him utilize. I mean, he's called Baby Rhino for a reason. He's obviously displaying a certain set of traits early on in camp and all of that. So I don't think there's even too much pressure on him to be like, hey man, we need you to be the number 1 back and grow and have all this development. It's just like, hey man, get downhill. You're a big back. You look like a linebacker. You just go in there, hit the A gap hard, believe in yourself, and that's all we really need. And don't fumble, because you're our power back. So we're gonna be putting you in the sketchiest of boxes with 5 guys trying to tackle you. But if I'm coaching, I'm not putting any pressure on Gibson besides get north and south.
I'm we're overlooking the wild arch that could make an appearance. We're talking about wrinkles.
He's gonna be our Wildcat quarterback. We're gonna bring an arch.
Previous staffs would have done something like that to their own fault.
The 18-wheeler package, baby.
That the 18-wheeler, baby.
16-wheeler. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
I remember watching that and being like, what are we doing? We are cooked. We're not winning this season.
I'm curious, Ian, I know you've written this article in the past, but we can go around the room. What are aside from getting healthy, that includes quarterback, what are some of the bye week to do things, to do tasks for Sarkisian and company? I put you on the spot, I know.
You really, this game is all about matchups, and the game plan is always huge. Like, I could go through so many Red River shootouts where one team had a wrinkle that the other team wasn't ready for that made all the difference.
Yeah. That
they saved for the game, or where one team's game plan in some way defined it. Like 2008, Jordan Shipley is the tight end and 4 wide. Next year, they tried that again, and Oklahoma was ready for it with the dime package. Sam Ehlinger destroying Mike Stoops' man coverage in 2017 and nearly stealing that game if he hadn't gone out at the sideline and had to go through the concussion protocol. Like, Texas almost stole that game. It was wild. Mm-hmm. Gerard Hurd and the wild Hurd offense in 2015. Oklahoma had Caleb Williams in 2021 in like some wildcat. Then he ended up taking over the game. They had a nasty trick counter play that averaged like 30 yards a carry against Texas in that game. I mean, y'all get the idea. Teams always save stuff for that game, and those things often make all the difference. So you want to make sure that you have that in your pocket. And then also you need to try to do the best you can to anticipate whatever they're going to do. Is always going to be something that makes sense, but you want to try to anticipate if you can.
Homer, any whether it be OU focused this week or big picture stuff, anything y'all would be looking at?
I'm looking at everything, baby. I've been breaking down the stats. I watched Auburn and OU again last night. I'm going to watch Tennessee OU. We have an advantage in they have the advantage in field position. Their defense puts them in advantageous situations.
Mm-hmm.
And if their offense gets lucky, 2 or 3 drives a game, they'll hit an explosive. Other than that, they can't do anything. This is not a functional offense. And even with Hawkins, I like Hawkins. His wide receivers are all hurt. He looks to one guy, he's covered because the offense, the coordination is awful and boring. They're like running to the sticks and sitting down with unathletic wide receivers. So you're not even having to chase them. It's not there. What's he going to do? He's going to immediately run. As long as someone's there, you hit him, and then you don't let him hit the one fade ball he's going to hit that game to try to change it. This is not a good OU team. But how do our wide receivers match up with their DBs? Great. That's also
extremely well.
So it's like I know that because of the nature of how emotional it is, it can be a weird game. But if I was breaking down Kansas State and Texas Tech right now, and Texas Tech was Texas Tech would kill them, And so statistically, they're a better team, but it's going to get weird. I normally don't feel as confident about this game, but I feel good about it just because OU's personnel, the good ones that they do have, are all on the bench right now. It's pretty crazy for them. It's almost unfair. They're not playing at full strength, but I mean, they're beat up, man.
Yeah, man, exactly. So honestly, this is one of those games that kind of scares me because I am so confident in this game. Like, I'm very confident in this game. I think Texas should come in here and handle business, and it should be pretty easy, right? I mean, that's just my opinion on it, but that's what scares me about it. But also, I actually look at it too, and I see Sark's first, years here, man. He has never had the opportunity to have a wide receiver room that he completely trusts, and so that's why he would always just roll out 3 guys and play them the entire season, all right? And so this year, you see, he's playing 6 guys deep, all right? So if I had a wrinkle, I could see Sark going with some kind of NASCAR package when it comes to wide receivers and just really exploiting the top off their defense, man, because we got the speed, we got the Bonds, we got the Wingos, right? We got Golden and Bolden. I mean, we got guys who can exploit that defense, man. So I just got a feeling that maybe that might be the wrinkle, is that he goes 4 wide and it's just straight wide receivers with no tight end in the field. And I think we can do a lot of damage with that. Plus our line is blocking very well too as well.
Or 4 wide receivers, 1 tight end.
Yeah, true.
I was just thinking about you have to defend Bond, Golden, Moore, and then let's say Wingo.
Yeah.
Like Wingo get healthy. That's just with their DBs right now. And they got good safeties, but safeties are safeties. They're not there to cut. They're not corners. So it's that thing too. It's going to be. Of course, I'm way too confident now, and I'm going to have to eat my words on the post game. In the previous years, I wasn't that confident, but I just got done looking at the numbers, and it's like, sheesh.
Yeah, man.
The old 0-1 personnel. Have not seen that one.
Yeah,
a long time.
I'm with you on that one. I like that.
I think last one before we get on out of here. Thank y'all for joining, and if you're still with us, make sure to give us a like if you've made it this far. What does going sideways look like in the Red River Shootout for Texas? Ian, I'm going to steal a little bit of a spiel I've heard you go on before, but it's a little bit more zoomed out. It's about the game and not necessarily Texas, and then I'll throw it around for what it looks like for Texas. But you always hear everybody, us, Sooner fans, anybody involved in college football, they mention that this game is incredibly unique. And it's not just because you got 2 powerhouses on the rival side of a Red River meeting in an old neutral site stadium in the middle of Dallas for the 100th time, but it's the fact that there's one tunnel. There are stare downs in that one tunnel. There's jawing. There's a lot of different stuff. There's all the different intensity that we've seen about, talking about pulling out new wrinkles and deploying stuff you've never seen before, and Mike Leach leaving a fake play card, and Darryl Royal being scared of people stealing signs. Like, there's all that to it. But then you go to the actual stadium, the announced capacity, I think it's 92,100, which means 46,000 really, really loud fans are on one side and 46,000 really, really loud fans are on the other. And let's say you go and you're driving and you're on the 20 and you fumble. All those fans that were cheering are now silent, and all those fans that were silent are now cheering. And that can change how a 19 to 20-year-old thinks about the game. It can change how the 45-year-old coaches think about the game. And it has an impact on, quarterback 1 to walk-on wide receiver number 85. So that can cause a lot of sidewaysness, I guess. But then now to get kind of to the point of Sugar Daddy's question, what does looking sideways look like for Texas?
So this
Turnover.
I was going to say, if it goes wrong, this is what it looks like. Is that what it means?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, go ahead, Ian. Sorry, I was clarifying.
It's just like last year, turnovers early. I could tell you, I could name like at least 5 Oklahoma Red River Shootout games off the top of my head where the game opened and Texas like tried to throw a perimeter screen or something, and Oklahoma was all over it and blew it up and nailed the ball carrier with a huge form tackle. And then they're all juiced up and half the stadium is going nuts. And you're just like, oh no, it's going to be one of these. And there are always big plays on both sides. Like even the blowouts that either team has endured, they usually had at least one big play that was like huge. When one team comes out and just starts landing bombs, and it's usually Oklahoma. If Oklahoma comes and immediately starts landing bombs, then from there it can always get dicey. And sometimes Texas has been able to pick themselves off the mat, like Buster Douglas, and gone in there and busted them up. And then sometimes it's been like Leon Sphinx, and they're just like, get me out of here. So that's what it looks like.
And they're 6th, or they are 5th in the country in sacks per game right now, and 38th in interceptions per game. I thought their interceptions per game would be higher.
Yeah, I did too.
But they created that Peyton Thorne interception. It was a cover 0 look, and then they dropped out. What's interesting about Venables, and you have to respect, is like a lot of these opportunities are not just like he made the quarterback throw that interception. And that's what's tough with him. He can schematically get quarterbacks to make those mistakes. I want to see older Quinn if that works on him. But a lot of their stuff are not just like fluke interceptions. Like it's Venables earn these interceptions for these guys a lot of the time. It's impressive.
You're underselling it. Not only that, he was the guy that went in the wig to the other team's practice and secretly recorded their signals so he could steal them in the game.
Yeah,
he was out there taking the risks with the burner phone, making it happen.
Yeah,
fair enough.
He was a real hero of Old Stallion. But the espionage or whatever through the years has absolutely paid off because they're able to make these plays, and that's where the turnarounds are going to happen. I had a tweet that I just put on Twitter. Turns out I put the tweet on Twitter, and it was kind of explaining, like these are the positive things that will happen. If this happens, Texas will win, right? So most likely scenarios that lead to a convincing Texas win. Texas controls time of possession by dominating 3rd and 4th downs. Explosive plays through the air to take advantage of Oklahoma's bad drop back defense. And Texas defense keeps Oklahoma inconsistent offense on the field, tiring out OU's defense. I thought they got a little tired versus Auburn. Mm-hmm. And then most importantly, this is the biggest factor. Special teams and turnovers remain clean, neutralizing Oklahoma's field position edge. That's where they're elite, 4th in the nation in field position. And so you start coughing it up, that's where you can get in trouble because Hawkins is going to get a runoff. We're going to fall asleep. They're going to get one deep shot. So as long as you can avoid the 2 explosive plays and don't give it away as an interception or Blue doesn't fumble or something like that, then we'll remain fine. And their special teams right now are also stronger than our special teams statistically. So like my fear of like the Silas Bolden trying to push it catch and then he gets tackled and they get the ball at the 5, those are things that can kind of keep me up. But it's really just don't turn it over. As long as we don't shoot ourselves in the foot, Texas wins this game.
Sorry. You got the last word.
Yeah, man. So same thing, man. Turnovers is going to be it, but also, Quinn coming back for this game. It's going to be 4 weeks off. So will he have some ring rust coming in? Right. So will he be amped up, like too amped up for this game? So that's my only real concern is no turnovers and Quinn calm down, come in settled, play the game the way it's supposed to get played, but he is going to have a few mistakes in this game because he hasn't played in a month. Right. So those are my only two things. But I think if Texas handles business and just do what they're supposed to do, they should win this game. And one more thing, if things are working for us, don't get cute, right? Like if certain plays, and certain, just packages are working for us and personnel packages, don't get cute and try to do something that we would only put in this game if you don't have to do it, right? If you're moving the ball great, I don't need a triple reverse this game. Let's just move the ball down the field and get a touchdown, right? And so, other than that, everything else will work.
I love it, man. Thank you so much for hopping on. We've been meaning to have you on here for a while, and glad Homer set that up and glad you joined us. Make sure you head to his channel. Should be right at Nino's Corner, correct?
Yeah, that's it, man.
At Nino's Corner. Think the same thing on all the socials. So
yeah,
check
YouTube,
that out.
everything.
Love the deeper insights from you guys. Us sickos need it. Us sickos like providing it. So it is a lot of fun. Thank you all for joining, Homer and Ian as well. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to our channel. If you're not a member yet, head to Inside Texas, use the promo code IT1, get yourself 2 months of access for just $1. Fellas, I appreciate it. We'll see y'all next time.